Super Bowl 59 is almost here. The Kansas City Chiefs look to make history and become the first team ever in the National Football League to win back-to-back Super Bowl titles as they take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Welcome in to the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we're going to take our first look at this matchup with the key players to watch, the head coaching battle. We'll break down the X factors and what's it going to take for the Chiefs to hoist the Lombardi Trophy once again. We'll tell you all about that coming up on this edition of the program. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Let's break down the numbers for you. The Chiefs had a 15-2 regular season record this year, as Patrick Mahomes only lost one game as the Chiefs starting quarterback this season. That was to the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, they went on to avenge that loss in the AFC Championship game. The Chiefs' scoring offense was ranked 12th in the NFL this year at 23.2 points per game, while their scoring defense was ranked 4th in the league at 19.4 points per game. The Eagles finished up the year 14-3, the second best record in the NFC, with a 28-4 scoring offensive number, sixth best in the NFL, and they also led the league in scoring defense at 17.9 points per game. The Chiefs are slight favorites against Philadelphia by about 1.5 is the latest odds that we had there, and the over-under is set at 49.5. The Chiefs lead the all-time series between these two, 6-5 and no ties in the matchups over the years. And the last time these two teams faced off was a regular season game in 2023, where the Eagles got the win over the Chiefs 21-17 as they were looking to get their revenge from the Super Bowl loss. And it was the last ever matchup between Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce, with Jason Kelce ultimately getting the final head-to-head win between the two. When these two teams faced off in the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago, it was the Chiefs that pulled out a nail-biting win to claim their second Super Bowl title in the Mahomes, Reid, Kelce, Jones era with a thrilling victory, 38-35. Before we go any further in today's show, folks, we want to thank you for helping us reach 68,000 subscribers on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We passed up 67 last night, and then we didn't slow down from there. We passed up 68,000 as well. And now we're on the road to my favorite number, 69,000 subscribers here on the channel. We are headed to New Orleans next week. We're going to bring you exclusive content from Super Bowl Media Week. We're going to be live for the Super Bowl with a watch party here on the channel as well, in addition to bringing you our daily news and rumors, breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. It's all right here in one place. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. And in the lead up to the big game, we are doing a sub battle with our Eagles channel. Chase Sr. and company, they don't think that we can win this sub battle. We want to set the tone early and not just beat the Eagles on the football field, but we want to beat them off the football field as well. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. The Chiefs' road to New Orleans includes a 15-2 record this season. They were able to defeat the Houston Texans in the divisional round 23-14, a game that was never really in doubt. And then in yesterday's matchup against the Buffalo Bills, they were able to come back after trailing in the fourth quarter to win that game 32-29. And they did something in that game they had not done all season, which was score more than 31 points in a single game. The Eagles rode to New Orleans, the 14-3 record. They had a win against the Packers in the wild card round, 22-10. The Eagles defense did a really good job of slowing down Jordan Love and company that day. Then in a snow bowl against the LA Rams, the Eagles' run game was fantastic with Saquon Barkley and company. They were able to win that game 28-22. And then as they faced their division rival Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game, they dominated with arguably their best performance of all the entire season, a 55-23 win. Heading into the Super Bowl, I think when you look at both of these teams, they have some real momentum, obviously, with what they've done in the postseason. But the thing that I think is true about both of these teams is that they are each playing their best football right now at this time of year. So you're going to get the best effort from both of these squads in this Super Bowl matchup. Nobody is stumbling into this thing. Both of these teams are playing really well. The impact players for the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, you got to start with the quarterback position, Patrick Mahomes. He is very hungry, and I was just reading about how he went into yesterday's game with a chip on his shoulder, that he's playing with an edge, kind of a silent assassin of sorts. His top target, Travis Kelce, playoff Trav, didn't necessarily have his best game against the Buffalo Bills, but he was really good against Houston. The defensive side of the ball, the CEO of Sack Nation, Chris Jones, he has been very good this season. Maybe not as good as what he's been in years past, but he's certainly a force to be reckoned with. George Karlaftis has been fantastic in recent weeks. Got off to a slow start to 2024, but he's really come along nicely. And then Trent McDuffie looks like one of, if not the best corners in all of football. You can't sleep on what Trent McDuffie brings to the table. Meanwhile, for the Philadelphia Eagles, there was a lot of talk about Jalen Hurts. How healthy is he necessarily? And I think he answered all those questions with the performance he had against the Washington Commanders. He looks to be in very good shape. And a big reason of the Eagles' success this season has been their MVP candidate, Saquon Barkley, who rushed for over 2,000 yards this year, came very close to Eric Dickerson's record. He is going to be the number one key for Kansas City to try to slow down in this Eagles attack. A.J. Brown, he and Jalen Hurts haven't always been on the same page this year. I think we all remember the wild card game a couple of weeks ago when he was reading a book on the sidelines, but he had a very good game in the NFC Championship game there against Washington. And there's plenty of players on this Eagles defense. If we had to pick just a couple of them, got to talk about Zack Baun. He's been really good. And then how about the rookie? Cooper DeJean has been fantastic out of the University of Iowa. He has been a force to be reckoned with. Something to keep in mind when I look at this matchup. With the Chiefs' struggles to stop the run against Buffalo, they didn't really have an answer for James Cook. It is going to be very intriguing to see what Spags can come up with having the bye week, 2 weeks to prepare for slowing down Saquon Barkley. I think that's a huge advantage for Kansas City to be able to zero in and see what they can do to limit his abilities. And remember, even though the Chiefs struggled stopping the run against Buffalo, they do have the NFL's 5th-ranked rushing defense this season. Let's ask you, who do you got? You going with the Chiefs or are you going with the Eagles? Type KC for Chiefs. Type PHI for the Philadelphia Eagles. Give us your predictions. I'll give it my prediction coming up at the end of today's show. We are sponsored by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. And I got to tell you, I've made a lot of great memories over the years going to NFL playoff games. And you can make some great memories by going to the big game with Game Time. And if you can't make it to the big game, Game Time's got plenty of other great events for your selections, whether you're talking in Kansas City when it comes to sporting events, concerts, theater productions. Maybe you want to head to Lawrence and go see KU or go to Columbia and see the Mizzou Tigers. They got plenty of great options for you to make a lifetime worth of memories. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals and great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's a deal you don't want to pass up on. You can customize your spot. They have their seat views so you can get the visual, see what that seat is like. Here's how it works. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. You choose your seat, and then just like that, you're checking out. Very simple, fast, and easy with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Game Time offers the lowest price guarantee, or they will credit you 110% of the difference. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Let's talk about the coaching matchup now, starting with Chiefs head coach Andy Reid. This will be Big Red's 6th all-time Super Bowl appearance. He had 1 in Philadelphia, and this will be his 5th with the Kansas City Chiefs, a 3-time Super Bowl champion and the all-time winningest coach for both of these franchises, the Chiefs and the Eagles. Meanwhile, Nick Sirianni, he's taken a lot of heat in recent memory after the early exit and the way this team fell apart at the end of 2024. But Sirianni found a way to get this team back to the Super Bowl after that disappointing year last year for his 2nd Super Bowl appearance. And for all the doubters when it comes to Sirianni, this is his 4th straight season with a winning record in his first 4 seasons in the NFL. I'll say this, though. Although Sirianni has done a fantastic job since becoming the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, don't be fooled. I don't think anybody by any stretch of the imagination should be thinking that Nick Sirianni is going to outcoach Andy Reid. I'll take Andy every single time, and Andy's putting up the type of wins and resume now that put him in the conversation of one of the greatest head coaches of all time now. That's how much of a climb we're talking about in the difference that he is. And if you don't think coaching matters, look how much Andy outcoached Sean McDermott in the AFC Championship game. It was a night and day difference between those two. The numbers at the quarterback position. Let's talk about the quarterback matchup between these two. Jalen Hurts this season, a completion percentage of close to 69%. Patrick Mahomes at 67.5%. Hurts threw for 2,900 yards, while Mahomes threw for close to 4,000. Hurts with 630 rushing yards, 307 for Mahomes. Hurts with 32 touchdowns, Mahomes with 28. QBR advantage Jalen Hurts, 103.7 compared to Mahomes, who was at 93.5. Mahomes' his resume, he is well on track to be right up there with Tom Brady and Joe Montana. I don't think the conversation when it comes to Mahomes anymore is anything about Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow. It's about being there with the all-time greats. Already in just his 7th season as the full-time starter of the Kansas City Chiefs, he has accounted for 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs as well, a 2-time league MVP, a 6-time Pro Bowler as well. Jalen Hurts has had a pretty solid career. So far, Hurts has been a 2-time Pro Bowler, a 2nd-team All-Pro, and last year he tied for the most rushing touchdowns in a single season in NFL history with 15. He is certainly a force to watch when it comes to his running abilities. I fully expect Patrick Mahomes to be the best player on the field in this game on either side of the ball for either team. But even with that said, don't count out what Jalen Hurts is capable of and his abilities to shine. A lot of people say that when these two met the first go-round in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, that Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Some people said it was the greatest Super Bowl performance of all time, despite even the loss from Jalen Hurts. So watch out, Jalen Hurts. He could still go off and have a big day. I think it's going to be fantastic to see what these two are able to put together. Who's going to have a better game in Super Bowl 59? Will it be Patrick Mahomes or will it be Jalen Hurts? Type PM for Patrick Mahomes. Type JH for Jalen Hurts. Get in the comments section and let us know. Let's talk about the X factors for each of these teams, starting with the Kansas City Chiefs. DeAndre Hopkins, he's had a few moments this year. The Raiders game, the Bucs game, but he hasn't been able to necessarily stay consistent. The Chiefs are still waiting for that breakout playoff game from him. This could be the opportunity. Marquise Brown had a couple of nice catches in the win against the Buffalo Bills, and he's been slowly able to find his footing. They haven't necessarily stretched the field with him the way that they would hope to, but he has been a nice, sneaky good impact player when they can get him involved. And you can't count out Noah Gray for as much attention as there's going to be on Travis Kelce, you would have to think that's going to open up things for Noah Gray, as we've seen throughout this season, as he's had multiple 2-touchdown games this year. I think Noah Gray will be a player to watch. Some X factors for the Eagles. How about Will Shipley, the backup running back for the Philadelphia Eagles, had a monster game against the Washington Commanders. And he's not only a threat when it comes to running the football, but also in the receiving game as well. A couple defensive players, Jalen Carter, the second-year player out of Georgia. Sometimes he's really good, and other times he kind of disappears. The Eagles are certainly hoping that he can have a big day. And then Nolan Smith, another former Georgia Bulldog, does a really good job of getting after the quarterback. Can he create chaos with the question marks surrounding the Chiefs' offensive line? The Chiefs are going to need an unsung hero to step up on offense, whether that's DeAndre Hopkins or a Marquise Hollywood-Brown, a Noah Gray, maybe even if it's a Juju potentially, like we saw from him in the AFC Championship game. You're going to need at least one guy to step up. On the other end, you're going to need to minimize the impact of the Eagles' many weapons on that defense. There's a lot of guys that can step up for them and be a crucial piece. And you have to do what you can to slow as many of them down because they have plenty guys that are capable of doing so. If the Chiefs win, they have to have at least one dependable receiving threat. Could be Xavier Worthy, could be Travis Kelce, could be one of those X factors we mentioned. But they need at least one to step up. And then the defense is going to have to get pressure on Jalen Hurts, keep him in the pocket, keep him under duress all night long. We've seen the Chiefs' defense so far this postseason with 10 total sacks in their 2 games. They're going to need to make life difficult on Jalen Hurts, and we've seen Jalen a little bit banged up. Maybe they can get after him early and make him uncomfortable for the rest of the game there. Travis Kelce, playoff Trav. Wasn't the year he necessarily was hoping for this year, but we know Kelce can turn it on and go to another level in these big-time playoff games. He had over 100 yards receiving against the Houston Texans. You know he's going to come out motivated, and he's going to look for a fantastic performance there. Meanwhile, for the Philadelphia Eagles, if they are going to win this game, they need Saquon Barkley to go off. Saquon, I think, should have been the MVP in the National Football League this season. I don't think he's going to win the award. They're going to need Saquon to go off. They're going to need the Chiefs to fall behind early and force Kansas City to make too many mistakes throughout this game. And we saw the Chiefs against the Bills. They were able to have an opening drive touchdown, and they did have the fumble that Mahomes gave up in the second quarter, but they were still able to overcome that. I think Philly has to start fast if they're going to have a chance in this game, and Saquon Barkley's a big reason why. Over 2,000 yards. He's also been effective in the receiving game as well. 15 total touchdowns this season. If I'm Spags, I am focusing all my attention on doing everything you can to slow down Saquon Barkley. With all that said, I do not see the Chiefs losing this game. You could argue that the Philadelphia Eagles are a better team on paper. You could certainly make a case for that. But the Chiefs, they are at their best in these big situations, finding ways to get it done. Mahomes making the necessary plays. Andy Reid, been there, done that before. I got the Chiefs taking home the Lombardi Trophy for the 3rd straight year in a high-scoring game, 30-27. Before we go, give us your prediction. You like the Chiefs or are you going with the Eagles? Weigh in the comment section. Let us know what your final score prediction is for Super Bowl 59. Appreciate you joining us here on the Kids City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for continuing Chiefs coverage. We'll be all over Super Bowl week. You won't want to miss out right here on the channel. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time.